Welcome in this special edition of On Texas Football. It's 2026 quarterback commitment time. And Steve Sarkisian and A.J. Milwee, they have their man after Texas Elite Camp. And that guy is Dia Bell from Plantation, Florida, American Heritage. That's Rod. This is new territory for Steve Sarkisian. Broward County for a quarterback at the University of Texas. And I don't think this one's been done before. But Dia Bell, not your average quarterback. Dia Bell, of course, the son of Raja Bell, longtime NBA player, one of the best defensive players in the NBA in his era. Dia Bell's mother played soccer at FIU. Raja played basketball at FIU before a long NFL career. Both college athletes. He is an athletic guy. Dia began in basketball, as you'd expect, and has transitioned full-time to football in the last couple of years, Rod. He was a guy that averaged 20.7 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists as a freshman on varsity basketball. Since then, when I went and visited American Heritage in May, it was a transition to football. And he said, hey, my dad just wants me to do what I love and be happy. Like, that's what a great father does, right? He puts him in everything he can and lets his kid decide where they want their future to be. But Dia Bell, a little different. Texas had 2 offers out coming to Elite Camp. It was Dia Bell and it was Troy Hoon out of Southern California. Troy Hoon was a first-year varsity starter. Dia Bell's a first-year varsity starter too, Rod, but this one comes with a little bit of a hitch. Dia, in the state of Florida, you can play varsity football as an 8th grader if your middle school and high school campuses are considered to be on the same campus. So Dia Bell actually appeared in 4 games as an 8th grader in a mop-up duty at quarterback at American Heritage on varsity, then appeared in 9 games as a sophomore, saw a little bit of action. He was playing behind a Division I quarterback. This past season, his first year as a starter, in 12 games, 122, a 189, 1,929 yards, and 20 touchdowns against 4 interceptions. American Heritage, 10-2 on the season, one of the best programs in the state of Florida, had a number of NFL players come out of there in recent years, including Pat Surtain Jr., Tyson Campbell, some of those guys. Obviously, Pat Surtain was the head coach for a long time. But Dia Bell, 38 offers when he committed to Texas. Most recent was Florida State in May. Seminoles are too late to the party. So, Rod Babers, here's the question. What impressed you about Dia Bell? Because I just threw out a bunch of impressive stats on 6'2", 193, by the way. What impressed you on tape? Because you watch that tape without knowing any of the stats. You do this the right way. What impressed you about Dia Bell?
Yeah, when I go in, I don't like to see, and I figured the Raja Bell thing. I just figured that, but I like to just watch the film. Hopefully, that'll tell me all I need to know about the young man as a football player. And I want to look at quarterbacks. What's their X-man ability, right? What sets you apart? What do you do as well, if not better than everybody else? His ability to throw the football on the run, is elite. It is unbelievable, the accuracy he has on the run, on the move, to the left or to the right. So I love that about his game. And one thing, there's a certain maturity in his game where Sark does not like running quarterbacks. He does not. He won't just flat out say that, but he says we don't major in the quarterback run game, and he takes these little subtle shots at quarterback run game because that's not what he does. We've seen Quinn scramble a little bit more this year. But what Sark doesn't mind his quarterbacks doing are scrambling to extend the play, right? Basically, scrambling to extend the play so that you can throw the football downfield, so you can find bigger passing windows, so that you can get deeper into the progressions. And that's what this young man will do. He will just buy himself time. He'll buy himself time by extending the play a little bit. And I love that. So even his next reaction, his second reaction, which is great, by the way. I actually wrote down here another one of his X-Man abilities is his second reaction plays. Once the initial play is dead or the initial read or the pressure gets him, the pocket collapses, his second reaction plays are great, but he looks to throw. He's got the athleticism to obviously just make teams pay by, taking the yardage they give him, taking chunk yardage plays by scrambling, but he doesn't do that initially. And so I don't know if he's just being disciplined or if his second reaction is, no, I'm going to extend the play so I can throw the football downfield. Either way, it's really impressive for a young quarterback like him. So I love that about his game. And he's really good. He wants to operate within the pocket. I wrote that within my notes. He's got a beautiful deep ball, and Sark wants to throw the deep ball more. Got a beautiful and accurate deep ball. That's pretty obvious. That jumps off the screen to me in his game. So there's a lot to love about his game. He's got the athleticism too. So I think the reason you like him, that when the play breaks down and you need second reaction plays, you need improvisation. He's got that ability. There is no question. But there's a discipline to his game where he doesn't always use it, Gerry. He contains that when he can, and he decides, no, I'm going to throw the football or try to operate within the pocket. That's what I like. He will move the pocket at times rather than scramble out of the pocket.
Look, if he was just trying to make athletic plays all the time, we wouldn't be having this conversation of him committed to Texas, right? If the ball's under his arm and he's taking off running. Here's one of the things I wanted to ask you. With the move to the SEC, that ability to extend plays, that athleticism in the pocket, does that come more into play for Sark, you think? Because, look, you're facing a different level athlete coming off the edge in the SEC. And you have to be able to move athletically in the pocket, move athletically outside the pocket to keep plays alive. Do you think that enters into the picture more for Sark with the change in conference?
I think it should enter into the picture with modern football, Gerry, period. Yeah. I think you need functional mobility. That's now a kind of base requirement at the quarterback. So you need functional mobility, but someone who can improvise, who can actually extend the play when the play breaks down. I think it's almost a necessity these days at the quarterback position, especially in a league as athletic as the SEC. It's just an insurance policy. Listen, if the offense is working on schedule and the offense is operating at its peak, then, hey, you won't even need that ability. But as we've talked about before, about 15% of the time, plays break down, human error kicks in, it's a great defensive play or defensive call or coverage, and you need your quarterback to go out there and make a play. And that's when he has that ability. You can tell Diabell that he can be that great equalizer if you need him to be in those situations. So I'm with you. I think in the SEC, that's a quality that as a trait that I would covet if I was a coach. But Sark wants a quarterback who may have that ability, but he wants a guy that ultimately, like Diabell is showing here, that he would rather his second reaction is to extend the play to throw, not to scramble and run once the play breaks down. So I think it's a necessity these days. And you see Caleb Williams. I mean, just go look at the top quarterbacks that are taken these days, right? The majority of those guys, they have that innate ability.
By the way, if Texas fans, if you're tuning in watching this and you say, golly, there's some really fast guys he's throwing to. Well, here's a little something about American Heritages. They have 3 2026 receivers. One's committed to Miami. He's going to reclass to 2025. They have 2 others. One has 13 offers, number of Power 5 offers. The third one just ran 20.5 as a sophomore in the 200 at the Florida State track meet. 20.5, which means he's hitting 19s in high school. And by the way, 2 or 3 members of this receiver corps were part of the second fastest 4x100 time ever. They ran 39.39 at the state meet in Florida recently, only bested by Atascocita in Texas. That actually beat Duncanville's time. So American Heritage, one thing about Diabell, he isn't going to have to adjust to throwing the fast guys. He's throwing to some of the fastest guys in America right now. And anybody that knows South Florida football, they know American Heritage, Central, Northwestern, Cardinal Gibbons, St. Thomas Aquinas, NFL players and the skill levels all over the place in South Florida at these schools. So, again, Diabell picks Texas over LSU and Penn State. He is the quarterback commitment for the University of Texas in the 26 class. After coming to Texas Elite Camp, he made that trip, and he told me before this trip, I called him, and American Heritage is still in school. And I said, who's making the trip with you? Well, my dad, obviously Raja Bell, my mom, and siblings. And I was like, oh, he's not coming down to throw a few footballs. He's serious about this trip. And that's exactly what happened. He was serious about this trip. Steve Sarkisian and A.J. Milwee were serious about him, and Diabell is the Texas Longhorns 2026 quarterback commitment. Rod, just some closing thoughts. I mean, look on Diabell, what you like about him once again, and the quarterback position at Texas. I mean, obviously Quinn Ewers is back one more year. Then it'll be Arch time. Trey Owens looked very impressive in the spring game. Yeah, AJ Lacey committed in 25, and now Diabell in 26. I don't think there's any doubt the quarterback room is going to be as healthy as it's ever been at Texas.
Yeah, it's thriving right now, and it makes it easier to attract wide receivers that want to play with these great quarterbacks you're stockpiling here. And once you start getting that pipeline of guys drafted into the NFL, I think it's going to be even easier for Texas, and even I think more optimism at that position. But getting back to Diabell, just one thing you talked about him playing with all that speed. And I brought up his deep ball. I think he's a natural, beautiful deep ball and very accurate deep ball. And I wrote this in my notes too. There's not a lot of hitches in his game. And what I mean by that, not a lot of hitches and indecision in his game. Sometimes you can see that from young players at the quarterback position in high school, and they get away with it because, it's high school. They're so much better than all the other players around them. But not with him. And that's something surprising from, like you talked about him being a first-year starter. Not a lot of hitches, indecision in his game. He's a smooth, rhythmic passer when he's throwing the football. And that's something I think Sark likes about his game too as a young quarterback. Hard to find that in young QBs. Yeah. It's usually something you get with experience after playing the position with reps. You become kind of I want to say smoother athlete playing the position. He's already the smooth operator, as Leek Murphy would call himself. He's a smooth operator at the quarterback position. I like that also about his game.
All right, and that'll wrap this one up. Diabell has committed to the University of Texas. This is a special On Texas Football 2026 Quarterback Commitment Edition. Rod Babers and I just have one more thing to say, Dia. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.